Hey everybody, Steven here, and today looking at a 4K webcam, the AI Huddle Mini Lite from CoolPo. I'm going to showcase footage of this in use here in a little bit. This is just me unboxing this so you can see what it looks like, and I want to cover the specs while this is running right now. So the environmental operating voltage is 5 volts, power consumption 2.5 watts, operating temperature 0 to 40 degrees Celsius, working humidity 10 to 90%. The dimensions here, I think this might be a little bit off. I think they need to switch these around, but height is 59.7 millimeters, width is 63.7 millimeters, and then the depth is 126 millimeters. I think the depth and the width, maybe that switched around because this is a longer device here. Weight is 220 grams. For the ports, you just have the one USB Type-C input. You have one LED light on this. This lets you know when it's in operation. You do have the ability, and you can see it on the top there, to actually just put a cover over the webcam if you are worried about that. I do like that feature. But for the camera here, the sensor resolution is 4K, digital zoom is 4x, field of view is 120 degrees. Focal length is 2.02 millimeters. The aperture is 2.5. Encoding formats, we have the H.265, the H.264, and then you have the MJPEG. Resolution, all of these are going to run at 30 FPS. You don't have 60 FPS here, but you have 4K, 2K, 1080p, and 720p. With this, you do get image noise reduction, 2D and 3D digital noise reduction. For the microphone type, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correct, but Electret microphone. With that, the pickup range is going to be 6 meters. USB protocol, UVC support, UAC support. Operating for this, you can use this with Windows or Mac. Inside of the box, all you have is the webcam, the USB Type-C cable, and that length is 2 meters, and the user manual. On the bottom of the webcam, you can swivel that base around, but you do have the threading if you wanted to actually mount this on top of something, which we will look at here in a second. And that's actually going to be it. So I'm going to showcase a little bit of footage of just the outside of this so you can see the different options for mounting this, and then we will get into actually showcasing what this looks like when you're using the webcam. All right, so this is going to be the software here that you can download for the Mini Lite. With this is obviously our connected device. This is as big as this software gets. I cannot make this bigger. I wish you could do that, but you get to adjust everything within this software. And when I click on this, this is where we're going to see the AI. And this is my favorite part of this webcam because it's going to be a zoomed out viewpoint. It's going to detect my face and then zoom in. So we can see it is zoomed out currently, and then it's going to find my face. Not only does it find your face, but it will track it, right? So if I lean over, and then once it has that, it will then track my face. Notice the delay here. It's kind of a bummer because it does take a second or two to finally say like, oh, that person moved. But once it does have your face, if you continue to move, it will actually continue to follow you. Now, I'm going to turn this off because this is the Medium Flex AI here. Turn that off. We're going to get our zoomed out view. With this, you can now adjust between 60, 90, and 120. So you do get those adjustments. I really like that. We can mirror this. We can flip this if we want to. And then our sensitivity to the audio here, we can adjust that as well. I'm going to look at the audio. I'm going to do a test for that here in a second, but let's go back to enable. With this, we have group or individual. So clicking on group here, if we had more people, I don't have more people in here, then it would start to actually adjust to more people being in the frame if it needed to. Or I could divide that up. So now it's picking up on just me. But let's say we had multiple people in here, you would get multiple camera views of these people. Very, very cool. So kind of two different categories with this. The first one being for me, and I think this is applicable for me and probably most of my audience, which is going to be streamers, right? Really cool that this will follow your face. And we're actually going to look at this in OBS here in a minute. But if you're not streaming or anything like that, you're running business meetings, this is going to be great for you as well. So I do like that we have our two different options here. And then next to that, we have camera settings, image mode, standard, bright, vivid, and custom. Just going to leave it on standard for right now. What I really want to showcase, and I'm going to do this in OBS as well, I'm going to back up from the camera. You're going to see that this is going to follow me around the room. So let's go ahead and hop up real quick. Now I'm gonna have to boost levels in post, obviously, so that you can still capture my voice with the microphone. But the fact is, this is gonna follow me around. So if I wanted to be in here presenting, this is pretty cool. If I go lower, it's gonna follow me lower, right? Like, that is pretty awesome. So really cool features with just the AI portion here. And looking at the visual fidelity of this looks great. Again, 4K 30 FPS. Yes, it'd be nice if it was 60 in my opinion, but 30 is still really solid. And the picture quality, I think, is going to matter most, again, for anybody that is doing meetings or if you are streaming with this. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to pause this so that I can switch over the audio. Keep that open, but I'm going to switch over the audio so that you can hear what this will actually sound like with the microphone specific, because this is a Shure SM7B, so it is going to sound better. But let's go ahead now and switch to the microphone that is built into this webcam.
All right, so this is going to be the built-in microphone. I may have to do some adjustment in post just to make sure that the levels are okay. But listening back to the recordings with this, it does a good job on picking up your voice. I was surprised that it had the amount of gain that it has with this. So with this, I'm actually going to do a quick test. We're just going to walk towards the back of the room. In this room, I'm probably going to be going about 10 feet, right? And so just to see what is the pickup with this. In fact, I'm actually going to turn everything on in here. So let's just change up the aesthetics of the room more for a stream that I may do. So I'm going to turn on some of my lights and you guys get to actually see that process here, but still with me talking just to see what the pickup is going to be. So let's go ahead and back up. So again, it's going to be able to follow me. And with this, probably from the actual microphone and the camera, this is probably a 12-foot room. So I'm actually probably 11.5 feet because my computer is very close to the wall. This is a great distance. And again, we're going to see how well this actually picks up on my voice. But now let's go ahead and start turning things on and see how it follows me. So one of the other things with this is thinking about if I walk out of frame, how well will it continue to pick up on me, right? Because it's going to try and zoom over to me now, right? That is on. Let's turn that off. We're going to then, if I can find this, we're going to turn these other lights on, right? And now, I still have more lights to turn on. We're going to shift this so that, again, we're getting more of the streaming vibe on this. But I get to do that all while I'm walking around. This is still following me. That's pretty awesome with this. Let's turn this down just, whoa, it's too much. Just a little bit here. All right, let's standard, vivid, bright, custom. Yeah, let's just turn that down just a little bit. Some of the sharpness here, that's going to be the big one to adjust. So brightness, contrast, saturation, and sharpness. This tends to look a little bit sharp, so that may be something that you will want to adjust. But now we have a really good setup if I wanted to stream here. Just looking at the two buttons here before we shift over to OBS, this one puts lines just to make sure, like, hey, am I in frame? Am I in the middle? This one's actually going to turn off of the camera. We don't want to do that. And then this one is our firmware up to date, and it is, so we're good with that. Should zoom right back into me, and we're good to go. So let's now shift over to OBS so I can actually showcase this in streaming software. And then kind of the cool feature, again, going back to the AI here, you could be on a stream and this is going to follow you depending on the software that you're using. I'm going to use this with an NVIDIA GeForce so that it's actually going to get rid of the background. It's not 100% clean with that, but it still does a really good job. So I get to showcase this while using that software on top of OBS. So let's go ahead and cut over now to that.
All right, so I'm currently in OBS and I will showcase footage of the camera here because I did put it on a little tripod that I have. Again, you have the threading on the bottom so you can mount this. So instead of being on top of the PC, it's right here just for a better view. Most likely this is how I would actually utilize this if I was streaming games or something like that. Now with this, I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast. I did mention that. So that is what is filtering out the background on this. And this is just a custom piece from my artist Zach Raw that I have that I use with the channel. But let's go ahead and bring up NVIDIA Broadcast here. So quality is pretty similar here, but I am running this 720p 30 FPS. You have 1080p and then you do have 4K. If I bump this to 4K, it's just too much for the software to handle. It ends up just freezing everything out. You don't really need that. I don't need 4K for streaming here. I'm gonna have probably 1080p or 720p because I'm gonna have a smaller window with me in it. I don't need 4K for that, but I do have the background removal here. I have quality versus performance. You can auto frame this as well. And then you have other options, eye contact. I believe that's one where it'll keep my eyes. I actually haven't utilized this. It may crash this. Yeah, there we go. So it's trying to keep, I'm not looking at the camera. Let's see if it'll work. And we'll look this way. There we go. That's weird. It keeps shifting my eyes back and forth. I'm not doing that right now. That looks odd. But anyways, we have the beta with that. So you do have those options. It's still going to do the zoom effect as well. So I'll just go ahead. Let's see how we will shift this. Shift over here, and it is now tracking me still. Again, that's one of the coolest features. I usually don't say yes to webcams. It's not something that I typically review on the channel. I have reviewed a couple. I've been hit up a ton about reviewing these. This is the first one where I was like, okay, that tech, that AI face tracking that they have in this, that seems like something that is unique and very appealing. Now, I think this is going to become more standard over time. I have seen some out there, but now being able to actually use one, I really like this thing. Again, that could be for meetings, it could be for streaming. Just the fact that I could stand up and walk around. My first thought is like when you have certain streamers, I really like Dr. Disrespect, and he's standing up and he's doing his little monologues and things like that. For this to be able to follow him, that'd be a really cool feature to see, right? So it just makes things more dynamic. So you have, again, the meeting Zoom side of things, and then you have the streaming side. For either, I think this is a great product. Again, the face tracking, if you're doing meetings, you have a bunch of people and this can pick out all your different faces and then give you little bubbles. That's incredible for that, right? The microphone, I went back and listened to everything. It actually, I really like the microphone. Now, of course, the Shure SM7B is going to sound better. It's going to have more bass to it, but my concern was it wasn't going to have good pickup, so it just wouldn't be loud enough, but it does. It sounds really good. And so if you needed to, I think you could, in a bind for a streamer, if you didn't want to have the microphone on camera, I think you could actually utilize that. You could adjust some things, use some software to clean it up a little bit, and you can make it actually sound really good. So microphone, another big plus with this. You do have the privacy screen on this. I like seeing that feature, so you could shut this off if you just didn't want, obviously, the camera open here. And then again, the threading on the bottom, so you can mount this to some type of tripod. So you have plenty of options with that as well. So overall, extremely impressed with this webcam. This is officially my favorite webcam that I've used to date. This will be my daily driver. I don't stream much, but with this, it almost entices me to, just because I want to use it where I could actually track my face with this. Anybody else out there that does, for instance, like the Amazon influencer program, and you need a camera where you're going to be showcasing products, but you also want something that's going to follow you, not just Amazon, let's just say content creators in general. This will follow you around. And so now you get 4K resolution with that, with your recordings or your streams. Again, maybe not using something like OBS where you're trying to dual stream like your screen and or a game or something like that in this. But if it was just you on that, most software is going to handle the 4K 30 FPS for streaming. But with that, it's going to follow you around. You get to showcase the products, showcase whatever you're doing, whatever, maybe cooking, something like that. So really cool features with this. And again, that is the big draw here. Of course, this does come at a premium price tag, but with that, I just haven't seen this with another webcam. I know it exists out there, but I personally haven't used it because usually those are more expensive. And again, this is a premium price here, but that is a really cool feature. And I think they've earned it with this tech that they have in here. So ultimately it is your money, and what you do with it is your call. But I think this is a solid webcam. If you're needing something that does have this face tracking, I think the CoolPo here with the mini light, this is going to be a great option for you. I keep wanting to pronounce the name CoolPo. There we go. Because I keep trying to pronounce it in my head a little bit different, but they have a solid product with the mini light here. So this is the webcam here. Hopefully this has helped you. Again, you get to see OBS running with this. I get to scale this image of myself, and then we'll actually go and eliminate NVIDIA broadcast there. But yeah, they have a solid product with this. I will have a link for this in the description if you want to pick it up. If you have any questions on this, by the way, let me know in the comment section. I will make sure that I answer that for you there. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.